So this time we have another interesting video from this guy, Justari Jones. Again, I was looking around and I stumbled upon his channel and just flipping through his content. I think his videos are educational and fun for me to review for you guys. And we can learn a little bit about actually what it's like dating Japanese girls. So for me, he does a few things good, he does a few things bad, and he does a few things pretty cringy that he doesn't really know that are cringe. So I'm going to give my 2 cents as we go, and let's check it out. All right, so let me give you some background information. It seems like he's probably an ALT. He's an English teacher, but ALT somewhere in the countryside in Japan. I don't really know exactly where. I just flipped through a couple of his videos just to get the gist of what's going on. Again, I don't like to get too deep into it because I want to have a fresh eye as I'm watching this stuff with you guys. Yeah, he's in somewhere in the countryside. He has a car, a small car, so definitely not near a major city or anything like that. He seems like he's pretty new to Japan, 20s, early mid 20s maybe. Not like a smooth ladies man, but seems like a really nice guy. And I don't know where he's meeting these girls from. It seems like he's kind of in the friend zone with them. Like his content says it's a date, but it seems like they're just hanging out. So you can take it how you will. I'll try and give you guys some insight and some advice as we go. But I think that's all we need to get started.
This is my Japanese friend Henry.
안녕하세요.
That's Korean.
And this is me. Then the idea came to me. Why not go on a date with her? But then I quickly remembered that I can't speak Japanese. She doesn't speak English. So how will this really work? Today, we are at Toada at a festival.
Nanji. Late.
Eight?
Go Hana. Go Hana. Go Hana. Did you?
This is kind of like I think a solid first date. It might seem from the beginning that they're just friends, but this is like a trial date, going to a festival, with a girl, and during the daytime, I think it's a safe thing for both parties just to get the feel of the vibes and see what's going on. So she probably thinks he could possibly be someone for her. She doesn't seem like, the guys are knocking down the door to get all up on her. Not judging her, but just in general, even like a really pretty Japanese girl, generally speaking, doesn't really get the type of guys that she wants approaching her as often as it happens in the West. Random encounters are pretty much a common thing, like in the supermarket, gas station, of course, going out, bars and things like that, just walking down the street. Women are generally approached by lots of guys, like in America at least, but that doesn't really happen in Japan at all, like on a regular basis. Like a really cute, pretty, sometimes beautiful woman can go weeks, months, years without a random guy actually coming into their sphere of living. So she just, like a normal girl. So I would, in the countryside, so that's what I'm saying. I imagine like the odds of her meeting you guys are a lot lower. So him asking her out, she was like, sure, let's do it. Let's go to a festival, something like that. Very lighthearted, not taking it too seriously, just seeing how things develop. And it'll be up to him whether or not he can capture her heart or close the deal or whatever he wants to do. But my faith in him is not that strong, just because he seems like too much of a nice guy to really like going for the kill. He seems like a silly, goofy guy just enjoying living in Japan. Nothing wrong with it at all. But he doesn't seem like, he's trying to get the draws like that.
Tumugu. What is Tumugu?
스무그 vegan.
Vegan.
わかんない.
Cookie. Tumugu.
Cookie. Healthy.
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 Umai.
うまい。
Healthy.
Yeah, so this type of like back and forth banter that they have, like he said, she doesn't speak English, he doesn't really speak Japanese yet, so you can kind of see it's kind of like a little comedy sketch. Watching them go back and forth with each other. That's pretty common with like those type of dates and interactions. You kind of have to really copy each other's timing and mannerisms to establish some line of communication. It's more funny, lighthearted, kind of innocent stuff than anything serious. Like, don't really get deep, because you can't really get deep with a person that you can't really communicate with like that. Now you can still progress into love land, however far you want to go. That's of course on the table, but trying to get too deep with those kind of things doesn't really generally work out. It's more like, ooh, healthy, ooh, cookie, like you might feel like an idiot doing it, but kind of go with the person, mirroring the person, and finding small inside jokes and stuff like that is 100% the way to go. She seems more like an innocent girl, maybe doesn't really have that much experience dating guys, just because she's so lighthearted and fun, I think they go well together because of that reason. I don't really know how much he can transition from the friend zone into romance land, but we'll see.
At this point of the day, I felt like it didn't matter that we didn't speak each other's language. But what mattered was being present and sharing these wonderful experiences together. All the worries and doubts were non-existent, and honestly, I think I'm starting to fall for her. But I'm curious to know how she thinks about it.
20時より乗船を開始いたします。
OK
バルーンランタンをご予約いただいている
クエスチョン
機会は17
いろいろクエスチョン
30分からナイトクルーズチケットをご予約いただきました方は20時より
初めて
初めて
会うの時に、
何したか
考える
あ
何ですか？
一番見たときジムで会って話しかけてきた話しかけてきてびっくりした。
Yeah, and as you can see, like, they're having fun. It's really lighthearted. Again, she seems like she's in her early 20s, so my 5 to 7 year rule kind of kicks in this situation. Let's imagine she's 22 years old. I would say, she has the mentality of like a 17, 18-year-old girl, if you will, like a girl in high school, probably in America, in my hometown. She's playful, she's fun, but not really thinking about getting too serious, too romantic and stuff like that. Just like a little buddy, and you can kind of see from their interactions. Now, what I see when she's saying, like, he's asking, like, yo, what do you think of me? First off, I would pump the brakes on that. On the first date, I would not ask about deeper feelings at all, even if the girl can speak English, even if you can speak perfect Japanese. The first date is not for that at all. It's for just a feeling out process. It's just for you guys to, like, do I actually want to spend time with this person or not? It's completely neutral, completely non-sexual, non-romantic, nothing. You're just hanging out with your buddy, like I've said before, like with your cousin, right? Introducing those things, even if they could communicate more deeply, is too heavy for a first date to hang out with someone, especially I think because they haven't hung out before. So yeah, with her questions, from my interpretation of it, it seems like she's having fun with him and she likes him, but she's wondering, okay, how can I actually date this guy? Like, I can't communicate with him. We're having a nice time, but how do I tell him my feelings? How do I do stuff with him? We're kind of stuck on stage 1, and how am I going to get to stage 2 or have a serious relationship with him? I think that's what she's talking about. Her questions are, and he wants to hear her say, yo, I'm feeling you, even though she probably doesn't know how to say that.
Where are we?
ティ派な
And I think, her talking about how she felt when he first came up to her, right? Another video I did, like, talks about, like, that the words that you'll hear from a Japanese girl are not really that deep, right? She's like, oh, a surprise, like, if you take it as face value, you might feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm wasting my time here. But, of course, there's a lot more emotions underneath the surface of her feeling surprised. Behind that, she's saying, oh, I was surprised and I didn't expect someone like you to come up and talk to someone like me. And I've never met someone like you before. And it's really interesting. And I'm curious to see how our relationship can develop. But I might have a lot of questions about whether or not we can communicate. All that other stuff is going on behind her saying just she's surprised. But you're not going to get that. And you're not going to be able to pick that up from her words. And she's not going to be able to. And you're not going to be able to pull that out from her words, even if her English is good. Again, like girls I dated, even when I first met my wife and started hanging out with her, I didn't get all that. It takes a while for you to pick up on that. It actually doesn't need to be spoken in a lot of times, a lot of situations. And you trying to pull it out, a lot of times can lead to frustration because it's like, yo, why do I got to explain this stuff to you? Kind of stuff. So just let it happen, man, especially on the first date. Just go to a temple, go to dinner, go to lunch, eat some weird cookies, and just have fun and enjoy the experience of being in Japan, being with like a beautiful, cute, whatever, attractive person to you, and live in that moment is what I would say. Like I remember, my first couple of dates here, going to like the park, going to cherry blossom festivals in Yozakura, and doing stuff like that, and just being like, wow, I'm here, look at this beautiful Japanese woman next to me, wow, I'm having this food, I don't even know what it is, and just living in that moment. If you do that for the first couple of dates and your first couple of interactions, you'll be fine. Like if you're looking to like date on the up and up. If it's like apps and all that other stuff, that's a whole different category that will probably be covered in other videos. But this is just like actually legitimate dating. In that case, don't think too deep about it, especially on the first couple of dates.
Today
Today?
どうですか？どうでしたか？
Today
どうですか？
綺麗だった。
綺麗だった。
楽しかった。
なんで
美味しかった。
なんで美味しかった？
なんだっけ、つなぐ紡ぐ
紡ぐ
食べて
ヴィーゲンのお菓子。
たくさんの外国人が来てやってる拝んでるのがすごいと思った。神社に拝んで
Yes
作法とかやり方難しいのにやってるのがすごいと思った。以上。
わからない。
See, this part of the date is a little bit cringy for me to watch because I can kind of pick up on what she's kind of say. Like, she kind of continues the story of when they first met. And basically what she's trying to say is that she noticed him noticing her, probably way before like he built up the courage to go talk to her. And, she was kind of like taken aback a little bit that, oh, maybe he thinks I'm pretty. Wow. Like, and she was actually really surprised by that. And her saying like the day was beautiful, she's saying like it was a great day for her and she really enjoyed experiencing that with him. Now, of course, I don't expect him to understand that, and I don't expect you to understand it if you're new to Japan, like the nuance and the depth to all that stuff, especially because there's such a big language barrier between them. Again, I've been in Japan for 20 years. I've been hanging out, talking to English and Japanese, like many women like this, not only in a dating sense, just in like an everyday life kind of sense. So I can kind of read between the lines a little bit of what she's trying to say. She was really trying to say like she had a wonderful time, and she was happy that she was able to share that experience with him, and she was so surprised that he actually really came up and approached her because maybe she wasn't expecting that, or maybe a foreign guy like him to do that. And there's probably more potential for that, but for him, he's kind of like, yo, you gotta tell me something. What's up? Are you feeling me or not? Again, don't rush that. Another thing, like the way he responded to her saying that stuff, even if you don't understand, like he's kind of like, kind of looking, I've been guilty of it too, kind of like, you, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's kind of like, looking down on her in a way where she's kind of opening up to him, and just because you can't understand it in words, you have to kind of respect the fact that she's actually saying something to you in depth. If you're asking her that type of question, and whatever form, even if you pretend to understand, or okay, thank you, or thank you for sharing, or I'll check, or I'll study. I need to study Japanese more. I want to understand. What you're saying in more detail. That lets her know that I want to try to connect with you on a deeper level, or something like that. But just be like, she probably kind of might let it slide, but also takes it to heart a little bit. Like, I don't really know if he can kind of understand me as a person. That's kind of my take on his play on that. It's kind of cringy for me just watching it, because actually I could see them being like a nice couple together, like early mid-20s love, all that good stuff. It could happen.
Finally, we get to see the Lantern Festival. We went back to the car, took a nap, but now we're gonna watch the beautiful Lantern Festival. It's our first time, it's my first time. Hajimete. Yeah, so we're happy, excited, but I would say a word in katakana. You have to say it in English.
Okay.
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake.
Hamburg.
Hamburger. Internet. Energy. Natural.
Energy.
So.
Ego.
Energy.
Yeah, so we're at the Lantern Festival, so it might be like Nagasaki, I think. I think Nagasaki does the Lantern Festival, but yeah, you can see like their back and forth, that English game that they were playing. He probably learned that from his job as an English teacher here. I'd say that works you can pick that up on dates too. That would work on a first date or a second date with someone for a light, funny conversation, stuff like that. Especially if there's a language gap. Even if you go to a hostess club, that'll work. Okay, that'll get the people going, right? No matter where you go, that will. I mean, choose the right time and place to pull that out your hat. But yeah, it's good. So overall, I'd say giving his first date performance, I give it 7. No, I don't give 7s. I would give it 6 out of 10, just because he missed a lot of signs. He kind of rushed a little bit too much. But, she clearly was feeling him. He was a nice guy. He didn't do anything. He didn't push her too wrong. So if you want more dating advice, here's another video that might help you out, and I'll talk to you soon.